Hey guys, today's video is about a follow-up to another video I did quite a while ago actually. The story that will be today's video was brought to my attention by a guy named, I'm going to butcher this, but Christoph Cantor, I believe. So, one of the reasons why I held this video off for so long was because I wasn't quite sure how to do it, because some of it doesn't really fit into the format that these videos usually are. Basically what this story is a rebuttal to one of the previous stories that I had done, where the OP had actually deleted his account and story. The OP of this story has chat logs and whatnot to prove that the other guy was lying through his teeth, basically. I'm going to leave the chat logs at the very end, but without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm using a throwaway. I'm not the DM of this story, but a friend and a player. And my conscience doesn't like the perception shown here. I will preface this by saying that the player kicked has not stopped harassing my friend for several months now. When he was kicked, he deleted my friend's entire D&D drive that he had spent a while working on. And since then, he has done nothing but harass my friend with Facebook messages, calling him garbage, and other various things. I also want to mention that at the beginning of this campaign, and at several points during the campaign, the player was talking about planning to try and break the game, setting the stage as to why the DM was incredibly wary of everything he wanted to do. Now that the preface is out of the way, let's begin. First, his stats were as follows: a 12, a 16, a 16, an 18, a 14, and a 20. Or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but conveniently, no one witnessed him roll this. He wasn't the only player that had ridiculous stats, but he was the main catalyst as to why we're now in a point-buy system. The preferential treatment to the Kenku Rogue is this. He wanted Magic Mouth to put on pebbles to throw at enemies, which was purely flavor. The other part was letting Mirror Image proc Sneak Attack, which only came up once or twice due to the nature of a very frontline heavy party. Again, mostly flavor. I'm not entirely sure what preferential treatment everyone else got, but if it was anything, it was minor at best. He spent several hours arguing about getting that Shield Guardian working, and having a pet retriever, and not letting either thing go. With a quick reminder, at this point he was about level 5, and a Shield Guardian is a CR 7, and a retriever is CR 14. But he wouldn't drop it. So my friend went through the painstaking process of creating an entire homebrew crafting system, which was a happy enough medium for the both of them. As for the average yield, those weren't even close to the words. It was more along the lines of, give me a valid reason why your character would know that given enough time, vinegar would clean rust. The reason?
My character reads books and is very smart. It knows everything.
He used that as justification for everything. Sometimes it made sense. Sometimes it was clearly the player using meta-knowledge. It was a minor thing, but he skewed the perception. He also wanted telekinesis to force-choke people, and to be able to twin spell it. He was a sorcerer. His words, so again, he's lying about the context here. Fun fact, the DM eventually did actually let him use it this way. Next, I have no clue what he was talking about with the Paladin. He never used any homebrew, and at that point in the campaign, was the only character that was raw and RAI. The hoops that the player was jumping through was asking for ridiculous things and being told no, as what he was asking for would really break game balance. For example, I want a retriever, which was a CR 14 follower. I want more gold as a reward. He was given 2,000 gold as a quest reward at 9th level. I want a retriever. He wouldn't drop this particular one. And he also wrote up NPCs several times for the DM to write into the campaign, all of which were important to his character. For reference, here's a few NPCs he had. His wife, who was smoking hot, and this detail is important. His 3 kids, and they all had undying devotion to him and were all 100% good kids. His brother and sister, which were also both magic users, and in the same organization, etc., which all basically sounded like backups in case his character died. This is fine, and as a DM, I like having characters to work into a story, but when I've written a baseline and I'm asked to change it several times, I wouldn't want to do it either. The hiatus was simply because he needed a break for 1 month, as he had many commitments and no time to plan anything. 1 month turned into 2 as the commitments kept coming, as this was during October and November, which were not only busy times for where the DM works, but also in his life in general. The player got really upset about this and wanted a one-on-one time with the DM, which the DM said no, because if I had time to do D&D, it would be for everyone, not just one player. During the hiatus, he threatened several times to quit and trying to manipulate the DM into doing things, because the plot wasn't 100% going the player's way. He was told going into this that it was going to be dark fantasy, which he agreed to. He even complained that things weren't dark enough on a few occasions, which is very amusing as his character had his life pretty much torn apart. Happy families don't tend to stay that way in Game of Thrones and things of ilk. As for one-on-one sessions and preferential treatment to the other players, no one ever got a one-on-one session, so I don't know exactly where he got that idea. Anyways, the work the DM had put in for the players, which wasn't just the Kix player but also the Kenku, are as follows. A crafting system, special homebrew items for everyone, a unique homebrewed world, and the campaign itself. His appreciation for the campaign was everything I've mentioned above. He had also used this Discord server to try and recruit players to his other campaign upon being kicked out. No one joined, as no one was interested in a Star Wars Mass Effect Halo crossover where his character was, unsurprisingly, a Mary Sue. Reading through his messages and his post makes me believe that he needs professional help. And I truly don't mean this maliciously. I'm sad that a man in his 20s is acting like a 10-year-old. But on the other hand, I don't think it's fair to only have one side to the story. Especially when the DM had been dealing with these outbursts and attitude problems for not only a decade before this all went down, but after the player was kicked and has been sending many messages to my friend. The reason I'm posting this now is that he unblocked my friend on Facebook for the 4th time to tell him that people think he's a horrible person. This is the other side of the story, and I hope no one thinks it's a lie. I'm more than happy to answer questions and post more chat logs if anyone is curious. I didn't post screen caps, but if they are requested, I can. I want you to know that, again, this is a throwaway account. And no, I'm not the DM. You don't have to believe me, but we both know that the DM is not the kind of person to do this. So please, I'm asking you, if you're going to make a response to this, which I'm sure you will, to keep it concise, as I'm not interested in arguing nitpicked details. You've skewed your story on your post, and this post is the other side of the story, and I have chat logs to back it up. Alright guys, so like I said at the very beginning, I'm going to show the chat logs on the screen, so go ahead and pause the video if you need to read them. But in any case, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have a story that you'd like me to narrate, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.